Hello everybody, I'm Kat, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite contemporary reads. YA contemporary is probably my favorite genre, which is an unpopular opinion, but I love it. These reads are all very fast and they're all very fun. I can't wait to show you some of my favorites. The first book I'm going to talk about is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. This book follows this girl named Laura Jean, and in previous years, whenever she's had a crush on a boy, she would write him a letter, but she would keep the letter in a hat box in her closet. One day, Laura Jean goes to her closet to check up on this hat box, and someone has mailed out all of the letters. So now it's up to Laura Jean to figure out not only who sent the letters, but to see if any of the boys have read the letters that have been sent. This book was just so cute. I absolutely adored it. This book is the first book in a trilogy, and it's by far my favorite one. I have yet to read the third book, but I love this book so much. I loved Laura Jean's family. I loved Kitty. It was just such a fun read, and I just remember having a blast reading it. I was laughing and I was smiling like the whole time. Actually, it's becoming a Netflix original movie, I believe this August, so watch out for that coming to a screen near you. The next book I'm going to talk about is No Good Deed by Goldie Moldavsky. I wanted to add Goldie Moldavsky's other book to this list, Kill the Boy Band, which you can see is right behind me. I was thinking about it and I realized that's more of a thriller rather than a contemporary. This book, to me, was much more of a summer contemporary read. This book follows this boy named Gregor, and he has enrolled to go to this summer camp for teen activists. So each teen at this camp has a different campaign set up. So there's one teen that has a campaign against robots. There's one that has a campaign for recycling. Then there's one with a campaign to eat dirt. The kid with this campaign is actually this movie star named Ashley, and she was recently in a couple superhero movies, and Gregor wants nothing to do with her at this camp. Like, he wants to stay as far away from her as possible. This book was full of twists and turns and fun summer camp activities and pranks. It was just overall a really fun read, and the thing with Goldie Moldavsky's books is that they're all really addicting. It took me a little bit to get into it. Like, it took me about, I want to say, like 30 pages to get fully invested, but then after like page 30, I literally couldn't put it down. I stayed up until like 2 a.m. because I had to know what happened. It's a great summer camp read, so if you're looking for a fun summer camp read, I'd highly recommend this book. The next book I have here is Paper Towns by John Green. Now, this is a very unpopular opinion. I know a lot of people don't like this book, and it's by far my favorite John Green book. I've read most of his books. There's only one book of his that I haven't read yet, but I plan on reading that this summer. You've probably already heard of this book because it had a movie adaptation a couple of years ago, but if you don't know, this book follows this boy named Q, and one day when he's like in 3rd grade, this girl named Margot moves in across the street from him, and he considers this to be a miracle. We watch as they started off as childhood best friends, riding their bikes together around the neighborhood until they are seniors in high school and they don't even talk to each other when they pass each other by in the hallway. But then one night, Margot sneaks into Q's room and tells him that she has a list of things to do tonight and she needs his help. That's like where the story kicks off. I don't remember having as much fun reading a book as I did with Paper Towns. I mean, I was laughing. I don't think there was a moment where I was reading this book and there wasn't a smile on my face. I genuinely just love this book, and I know if I reread it now, I probably won't like it as much. When I initially read it, I absolutely adored this book. The next book I have here is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. This book follows this girl named Audrey, and she deals with severe social anxiety, and this book follows her and her quirky little family as they all help Audrey overcome her anxiety. The battery's low. Now, you're probably thinking that this isn't a fluffy contemporary read, but it is. And I went into it not expecting it to be a fluffy contemporary read, but it really was. The aspects of Audrey's anxiety never brought down the book in a negative way. Audrey's family was so funny. I was literally dying of laughter every time they appeared in the book. I really liked Audrey as a character. This was another book where I just remember having so much fun reading it. And of course, this one should come as no surprise to you all. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Now, how many times will I accidentally call this Love Simon in this video? I don't know, but we'll see. This book follows this 16-year-old boy named Simon who isn't openly gay. The only person that knows he is gay is this mysterious boy named Blue that he's been emailing. One day, someone discovers their emails and decides to blackmail Simon for them. This book is just so adorable. I just recently reread it. The movie is one of the most faithful book-to-movie adaptations I've ever seen. I just recently reread it and I just had all these new feelings that I never got when I first read the book. This book is one of those books that you can literally reread over and over and over again and you will love it each and every time you reread it. These next couple contemporaries are definitely more on the deeper, sad side. I recommend these books, but just so you know, they deal with some heavier topics. The first books I'm going to recommend are actually Morgan Matson's books. Her books are actually quite deep for contemporary. They deal with more stuff than just your standard romance. These two are my favorites, Amy Rogers' Epic Detour and Second Chance Summer. Second Chance Summer follows this girl whose father has just been recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and so the father wants to spend this next summer at their old lake house, which Taylor, our main character, hasn't been to since she was like in 7th grade or something like that. And so she has to open herself up and give these people second chances, hence the name Second Chance Summer. I love this book because I really just couldn't put it down. I just wanted to see what happened at the end. It's a bit more on the sad side, but it was a truly like beautiful novel and I would highly recommend it. Amy Rogers' Epic Detour, on the other hand, follows this girl named Amy, and her mother decides that this summer they're going to drive across the country from Los Angeles to Connecticut. The only issue is Amy hasn't been able to drive a car since her father died in a car accident, so her mom decides to have their old family friend named Roger drive Amy instead. And this book, it was just so cute, and I love the fact that you had this backwards storyline going along with it. Not a whole lot of contemporaries do that, but when they have this backwards timeline going along with the main storyline, it makes me just like love that aspect of the novel like even more. This book is one of the more lighter Morgan Matson books, I guess. Now this book may come as a surprise to you all because I genuinely just never talk about this book on my channel and I have no idea why, but I really don't, and that is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Now this is a really random one and it was random like to me too. I wasn't expecting to like it at all, but I ended up loving it. This book follows this girl named Samantha, and one night after a wild party, Samantha's friend gets into a car accident and Samantha dies. But Samantha wakes up the next day, reliving that day all over again. One of the things I loved about this book was the Groundhog Day aspect, because each day was the same, but it was up to Samantha to change it. And finally, the last book I'm going to recommend to you all probably won't come as any surprise to you all. This book was my favorite book of 2017. That is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This book follows this 18-year-old girl named Eliza, and while in school she's kind of a nobody, online she is the creator of this webcomic series called Monstrous Sea. And this webcomic series has millions of followers. It's this huge worldwide phenomenon. But then one day, this new boy moves to Eliza's school, and he happens to be the most popular fanfiction writer of her own webcomic series. And as they slowly begin to form a friendship, Eliza has to deal with the fact that while she knows who he is, he doesn't know who she is. It kind of affects her anxiety, this newfound relationship. This book, it does deal with mental health. It was just a beautiful book. I picked this book up on a whim. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, but this book has just left such a huge impact on me. I don't have any other words really. After just a couple of chapters, I was immediately hooked in. It only took me like 2 days to read it. I was constantly reading it during those 2 days. I feel like this book isn't as talked about on BookTube. Like, I know a couple of people have read it, but I feel like it's more of an underhyped book. So here's me hyping it up for y'all. Alright, and that is it for this video. Let me know down below some of your favorite YA contemporary reads because I would love to know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post videos every Thursday and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!